This is Fox 6 WBRC Law Call.
Hello and welcome into Law Call. Tonight we're premiering some new elements as part of our show, and we are so glad to have you along. Now, our caller segment, we're going to be discussing fighting the insurance company. So if you have a question related to that, go ahead and call us, 741-7474. We're going to get to your calls later on in the show. And we're also going to address tonight a common misconception about attorneys. But first, we've got Kirby Farris. He's with the law firm of Farris, Riley & Pitt here in Birmingham. And tonight, he's going to tell us a little bit about the difference between civil and a criminal trial. So a lot of folks get those confused. So if you will, Kirby, kind of walk us through what, I guess, starting with a civil trial. What is considered a civil trial?
Sure, Tiffany, be glad to. You know, the basic difference between civil law and criminal law is this. In criminal law, the state brings a charge against someone for a violation of a statute, could be murder, theft. Civil law is a person against a person or a company against a company. And it is an action for money damages. Now, one of the big differences between the two is the burden of proof. Now, the burden of proof in a civil case is a preponderance of the evidence. The burden of proof in a criminal case is beyond a reasonable doubt. So remember, criminal law, it's a state against an individual, the penalty being jail time or fines. And in a civil case, it's a person against another person, or it can be a business against another business. And the penalty is money damages. And if anybody wants to learn more about that, they can get with us. Tell them how to do that, Tiffany.
Yeah, it's pretty simple. You know, we're real excited because we've got a couple of great ways that you can go online. Of course, everybody's so savvy these days, Kirby. You can go find more information on Law Call. You can look us up, myfoxal.com. You're just seeing that right there. Click on that Law Call link. It's real simple, myfoxal.com, Law Call, and that'll, of course, direct you to all the information that you need to find out more information. And you can also go to frplegal.com. That's set up just to help you out if you need some more free legal advice or some direction of where to go in a certain situation. In tonight's sidebar, though, we want to talk to you about, or let personal injury attorney Ken Riley talk to you about setting the record straight about a well-known slur against the legal profession. Go ahead and watch.
What does ambulance chaser mean? This term makes any lawyer cringe, especially for a personal injury attorney like myself. The image is an attorney that chases the ambulance to be the first on the scene in hopes of getting the injured person to hire them. Here's what you need to know. You don't need to hire the first attorney you see. And if any attorney or representative approaches you without your permission and asks you to hire them, that's against the Alabama Bar Rules of Professional Conduct, and they could lose their license to practice law. Here's your sidebar advice. Don't hire a lawyer that actively solicits your business. If he or she would break the bar rules, you probably don't want them anyway. If you have a question, send them along to lawcalltv.com. I'm personal injury attorney Ken Riley of Farris, Riley & Pitt in Birmingham.
Well, we're excited about tonight's show. We're going to be discussing taking on the insurance company. So if you have an issue about whether to settle a claim, or if you've settled a claim, do you have something, a follow-up question, I guess, about that? We've got Kirby Farris with the law firm of Farris, Riley & Pitt. You're in the house, so good to see you.
Great to see you,
Yeah,
Tiffany.
yeah. So tell us who you got with us.
Hey, listen, we got a great show for you tonight because we got my good friend Bob Prince from Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Bob's, as he practices in the same area that we do, he fights against the insurance companies all the time, does a fantastic job. Bob, good to have you.
Good to be here. They're about to wear me down. The insurance companies are.
Well, we are glad to have you here in the house tonight, so thanks for coming up.
You're welcome.
We've got Lisa in Pratt City, and Lisa has a question, I think, for you guys. So, Lisa, go ahead.
Good evening, everyone.
Hey there.
Lisa.
Hi, I lost my home April 27th. We were a total loss, and we're okay. And in my insurance, I have additional living expenses, which they call ALE. And I read my policy front to back, and it says that I have up to 12 months to either replace my home or rebuild it. Well, I chose not to rebuild because this is the third storm that I've lived through, and I just don't care to do that anymore. And they wrote me a letter and told me because I was not rebuilding, 5 months was long enough to locate a home, and they were going to cut off my additional living expenses, contrary to what my insurance policy says. Do they have the right to do that?
Good call. Thank you, Lisa.
Sorry for what you've been through.
So what are your thoughts, Bob? You want to weigh in?
You know, it's always driven by the insurance policy, Lisa. So I'd love to see the insurance policy so we could really, you know, hone in on it. But I can tell you this. that those living expenses, if your house is being repaired, it takes longer. And that's why it's up to 12 months. If you've told them, or if they know you're not rebuilding, you know, they know that it won't take 12 months. And so off the cuff, I would say they probably can do it, but the wording of your policy will determine that.
And Bob, can they come and see a lawyer like yourself?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And tell them how they can do that and what they need to bring with them.
Well, yeah, you need to bring the policy always. You know, that's in any correspondence you've had with the insurance company. I've had the same problem. You know, when we were out of our house, we were not back from the storm, we were damaged, and I've had to look at my policy. I mean, I'm trained, Kirby, and it's still difficult. It's impossible. So I know what you're going through, but, you know, the insurance companies right now seem to be holding all the cards.
Yeah, they do.
Okay. Thank you, Lisa. Good luck with everything, too. Keith is calling from Hueytown tonight. Hey, Keith.
Hi, how are you?
Hey, good.
Hey,
Thanks for
Keith.
calling.
Yes, my question was, I was in an accident with another vehicle, which the accident, they hit me from the rear. We found out we both had the same insurance company. The policeman, it was in Birmingham, but on the spot, said they did not make a decision, you know, on whose fault it would be. And that is, you know, that's changed since I was a little younger, because they always used to make a, you know, decision on whose fault it was. But anyway, when we filed the insurance claim, they would not tell either of us whose fault it was. They just made a determination that it, you know, they could not make a determination of whose fault. So it ended up we both had to pay deductibles, you know, in order to get our vehicles fixed. And it seemed a little bit, you know, shaky.
Questionable. Yeah. Kirby, is that something that you've heard before?
Yeah.
A similar situation?
Yes, we see that quite a lot, Keith. And let me tell you just a few things that you need to know and folks out there need to know. Number one, the officer's determination about who's at fault, and there is a spot on most accident reports where they make an allegation as to fault. Inadmissible in court. Accident reports, inadmissible in court. So the determination of who is at fault really is based on the evidence, facts of the case, property damage, and maybe eyewitness accounts. You may need to hire a lawyer in order to get satisfaction on what you've got going on, but don't get too bent out of shape about what the accident report says. Liability is driven by how something happens and what kind of evidence you can produce.
Well, with his particular situation, how long, what's the time frame you're looking at to take action and you know, to move on it?
That's a great question. That's called the statute of limitations. When you only have 2 years in Alabama for an accident such as this one. Can be a little bit different on some other claims, but by and large, it's 2 years in the state of Alabama.
All right, good to know. When we come back, we're going to put the question out there, has your claim been delayed or denied? And if so, what do you do next? So stay tuned. More Law Call when we return.